Greetings, degenerates. Welcome back to the Cathedral. St. Michael here. And today's sermon is going to be on that thing that doesn't happen. Well, it happened again. Up in Canada, shockingly, the place that has no guns, and you're not allowed to have guns, had a mass shooting. And shocking, again, no one. The assailant was woman. Now, I haven't been doing a lot of political videos. I've been saving a lot of the politics stuff for my streams on Sunday. Feel free to check that out. Midnight Mass, 9 p.m. EST. And I'm going to talk about this more so in that this Sunday, but I figured I would do a video on it because, well, I promised you guys I would do more videos, and, you know, everyone's fucking talking about this. This is one of the biggest news stories right now. Other than the fact that, let me bring up that a new subscriber said, I go to bat for Epstein. And, you know, Trump was in the document saying, no, you guys got to arrest him. So, fuck Epstein. So, that's for you, buddy. Anyway, yeah, we have a trans shooter again because, look, I am all for people having the right to defend themselves. And let me be clear. The Second Amendment is not the right to have weaponry, necessarily. It's the right to self-defense. We just live in an age where guns are the most useful, I guess is the word I'm looking for, the most effective form of using it. If this was a couple hundred years ago, it probably would still be some form of gunpowder, but swords. So, I think mentally ill people, and trans fits the fucking category, they need to be kept away from this shit. Because it's fucking scary how many times it happens. And I know, you know, that people will say, well, that's going to be used against other people. I think, first of all, the government shouldn't say. There are certain people that legitimately just do not need to have weaponry. If you have a mental problem where you hear voices or you think, oh, I'm a fucking woman, let me wear a dress and cut my cock off, I think you need to be evaluated, okay? And I've said this before, and I think that was community noted, but it would be interesting if it was true. Make asylums open again, okay? We have better medical technology, we have better medical knowledge than we did back in the day. So it wouldn't necessarily be like, you know, what it was, hopefully, but we need asylums. We need a place to keep these people and hopefully heal them. But that weird preamble aside, Canada is fucking stupid. And this is coming from me. Yes, I have a conflict of interest. The Canadian authorities are calling the school shooter a gun person instead of a gunman because we don't want to offend the fucking murderer's feelings, do we? Good fucking God. The place with heavy gun restrictions somehow had a mass shooting. Also, they don't want us to know about it. Justin, 10 people dead, 25 injured after a mass school shooting in Tumbler Ridge, Canada. Police have identified the shooter, but won't release the details at this time for privacy reasons. Okay, that I understand. I think we need to stop plastering the names of these shooters all over. Just call him that monster. Just call him or them, whatever. Just call him that scumbag or whatever. Stop, because next shooter will be inspired by current shooter. It's just how it happens. It's just a fact. They've researched it or they've done some sort of studies on it. And yeah, the biggest influence for current mass shooter is previous mass shooter. But I do think it's interesting that the place with the highest gun restrictions almost in the world, I think Australia is fucking worse, they had a mass shooting. But remember, guys, mass shootings and school shootings, they're a problem only for Americans because we have too many guns. Oh, fuck yourself, Canada. You need to be annexed. Yes, there's been a major school shooting in Tumbler Ridge, Canada. I do not know where that is. I do not care. Where 9 people were killed, 10 including the shooter, and 25 were shot. He also shot his mother. And I will say his. I don't care what YouTube has to say. I don't care what the news has to say. It was a he. He committed these acts of murder. He committed these acts of pure evil. He shot his own mother, who, and I'll bring this up Sunday, was an activist for trans bullshit. So likely he was groomed. 9 people were shot, 25 more were injured. Okay, so it's Tumbler Ridge, British Columbia. Okay, that I know where it is. It's the westernest province, right after Alberta. 6 victims were found dead in the school. Another died on the way to the hospital. 2 more were found dead in a home, which the police believed to be connected to the school shooting. Breaking, trans shooter opens fire in Canada, 10 dead, 25 plus wounded. Police are so terrified of misgendering, they call him a gun person. This is a fucking hostage video. He just went, am I allowed to say that? He fucking looked off screen like there was a fucking gun pointed at his head. Fucking egg. Gun person, yeah. So we don't know any details, but we do know that woke Canada wants to keep terms gender neutral in case... no. Even though gunman is normal word to be used. And that's true. This isn't true. That's true for policemen, postmen, firemen, whatever. Man means just human. It doesn't mean, male, okay? If you want to be pedantic, you could say male shooter or female officer or male, whatever. But gunman is gender neutral. It's just how it is. The RCMP Sergeant Staff Chris Clark refused to name the Tumbler Ridge. Okay, that I'm fine with. Again, stop plastering their fucking names all over the place. Okay? But saying he was a trans shooter is not a problem.
We believe we've been able to identify the shooter, but for privacy reasons and obviously for the conduct of the investigation, we're not releasing that information at that time until we're assured that we've connected with the appropriate people.
Okay, look, I'm saying this. The name part doesn't bother me. We need to stop using their names. Stop making them famous. But it is unfortunate when, you can't fucking call a man in a fucking dress and a wig a man with mental illness. Okay? It's insane. This is fucking idiocracy. This is clown world. Police also declined to identify the suspected shooter or confirm whether or not the individual was a student at the school, nor what weapon or weapons they may have used. Floyd did say the suspect is the same person referred in the text alert sent into the community as the situation unfolded, which at the time described a female in a dress with brown hair. Look, there are some miracles of cosmetic surgery. Very rare do they look good or convincing. Very rare do they chameleonize into the gender they wish to be portrayed as. I highly fucking doubt, and I can tell just by looking at the top portion of that picture, that he blended in. Oh, I wasn't sure. Okay, look, I'm a very skinny person, and my hair kind of hides this part when I'm turned around. I have accidentally been mistaken once when I was at work. They thought I was, I think they thought I was the boss, who was a woman. And I'm about the same height. But that's a very special case. And once I turn around, people will be like, oh, no, you're a dude. Just long hair, okay? Ask any metalhead in a concert. That's a fucking... That happens. You never know. Yeah, there's no way you fucking thought this. Who is this supposed to be? Beth Phoenix? China? I mean, even they look fucking more feminine. One of them looked, unfortunately. But Twitter snoops and sleuth are skeptical, considering the instance on gender-neutral pronouns by police. A 17-year-old transsexual Jesse Strang, which is kind of a gender-neutral name. There's man and women with that name, has been identified as the Tumbler Ridge secondary school shooter. Secondary school, so I guess that's what we call middle school. The Sunday Guardian has identified Jesse Strang as the shooter, reporting that the kid's uncle has confirmed his trans identity. Oh, of course. Some Canadian news outlets, including Western Standard and Juno News, reported that the suspect was 18 years old, named Jesse Strang. The identification reportedly came from the close family member, with Juno News stating that the suspect's uncle, Russell Strong, confirmed the identity. The Royal Canadian RCMP also have still not publicly identified the shooter. Here's a reduct on the reported shooter. Oh, the site. Yeah, the identify of the Tumbler Ridge shooter has been confirmed as Jesse Strang. Strang is a biological male who identifies as a female around 2023, so this is 2 years in the making. He was raised in a family that valued hunting. Okay, so I think in Canada, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think in Canada, the only way you can have guns is if you have a reason, and the only real reason they allow you up there, I think, is hunting. So that does make sense why they have guns, where it's like, well, how does a Canadian have a gun? Special circumstances. Very special. Facebook posts from his mother indicate he may have struggled with behavioral issues. Again, are you surprised? It's every fucking time with this shit. Drug use, mental problems, these people, these freaks. Okay? I don't care. I am sick of these identity politic queer freaks. Okay? They are a problem. We need to stop coddling these fucks, these perverted weirdos, okay? Who either want to dance around half naked with kids or want to shoot up kids. It's every fucking time. Every fucking time. And it's a problem. It's why I said that thing that doesn't happen, well, guess what? It happened again. And again, and again, and again. It's every fucking time. In 2021, Strang launched a YouTube channel. Hey, good for you. I did the same. That was promoted by his mother on her Facebook. The channel was dedicated to hunting, self-reliance, guns, and other interests. It's great. At some point, deleted the content on the channel and changed his handle to, I'm not saying this. The only remaining post on the channel was made 6 months ago and reads, I've been pretty aimless.
It's just a little aimless.
Use the sites.
Kane!
So this is a person with clear problems, and the mom enabled. Look, I have nothing against single moms. I have nothing against women who, do their best to keep their kids on the right path, who've either made bad decisions or have had dumb things happen to them. No way am I, demonizing them. But this is why the Bible has man, woman, husband, wife, mother, and father. Because every fucking time it seems to be, where was dad? Where was the father? Where was a masculine influence on this? Now, obviously, there was some because he fucking liked guns, but everything here seems to be the mother's Facebook. Like, where was dad? Where was he putting his foot down, pushing in the door saying, no, we're not doing this. This needs to stop. You're being a fucking weirdo. You need help. Let's spend time together. Let's go throw a ball. Let's go hunting. Although in retrospect, maybe teaching him how to better shoot is a problem. My point is, where is dad? Here's some pictures of the future disturbed individual. Gee, I wonder why private details are preventing the cops from talking about this. This is from Libs of TikTok. Great, well, I don't want to call them news, but they're better news on CNN. A family member identified the shooter as transgender who had she/her pronouns in his bio. Juno News. Breaking mass shooter of Tumbler Ridge Secondary School in Canada. At least 8 dead. It's more now. 25 injured. Suspected shooters deceased. Police identified the attacker but are not releasing the name. That's fine. 2 more dead and another shooting nearby believed to be connected. Video of the shooter firing Desert Eagle. Ooh, wow, nice gun. At a shooting range. Video sourced from now deleted Reddit. I'm not playing it, but look. All gun laws in the world can't keep weapons out of the hands of these psychos. Yeah. And look, the fact that he, had a YouTube channel, the fact that he was big in hunting and guns, the fact that he, his name is not being put out or wasn't at the time being put out, that shit doesn't bother me. The whole point of why I'm making this video is that this is an epidemic. This is a problem. We need to stop coddling these people. We need to stop affirming their delusions. We need to stop allowing these demons to constantly have a hold. And that's honestly, again, the entire point of this channel. That's why I call myself the Vexorcist. That's why my bio is what it is. I'm calling out demons. I'm calling out evil. This is evil. Pure and simple. And not just the act of this horrific monster himself killing innocent children, and his own mother, matricide. But the fact that this is not a symptom, okay? This isn't the disease, it's just a symptom. And there's many dominoes that led up to this. So much just of, oh, that's okay, or let's identify, it's okay, let's just let them live their life. Sometimes you need to tell them no. What happened to tell kids no? I think I'm this. Kids think they're all kinds of things when they're growing up. They think they're dinosaurs. They think they're superheroes. Sure, we let them play on Halloween, and for a little bit, we let them, enjoy their fantasy. But at the same time, you need to say, hey, okay, now it's time to be who you really are. Now it's time to be an actual kid. Now it's time to be, my child, and you need to go clean your room, you need to go do your homework and whatever. You need to break the illusion once in a while. And too many parents, and I think it's a problem of maybe these parents didn't have their bullshit affirmed. It's kind of like how the jock parent didn't get to be in the NFL, so he forces his son to be a football star, even though the kid probably doesn't want to or has no interest, but they force. I think that's what this is. I think that's just another version of these parents didn't feel some sort of hug when they were a kid, probably because they're the children of divorce, okay? Of no-fault divorce and of feminism. So they push this idea on their kids that they just need to be affirmed and loved and hugged. And okay, fine. There are times when you need to, even as a man, love your kid, hug your kid, tell him you love him. That's not unmasculine. But there's also times where a parent needs to say, no, this needs to stop. You need to behave, okay? There used to be a time when you would go out and, how you behaved reflected on your parentage. That's why I tried to behave ad nauseum, trying to be decent. No, thank you. I would like this kind of soda. Would you, when I'm ordering at a restaurant, that's how it's supposed to be. And I think these parents need to just realize it's okay to say no. It's okay to do some of the things your parents did, because maybe some things that they did were correct. They just didn't do everything correct. And you're never going to ever, because you're not perfect. There's no perfect parent. And again, where is dad? It's always mom, mom, mom. Mom affirmed my thing. And it makes women look horrible. It really does. Because it makes you look over emotional, over empathetic. And there's such a thing as suicidal empathy. Empathy is a great thing, but there's a point. And this is, again, why you need a husband. The man will say, hey, okay, too much empathy makes you a doormat for snakes, and too much, robotic logic will make you heartless. So there has to be a point where the husband or the wife checks each other or pulls back or lets them go. But that's why you need both. And this is just single mom or whatever mom, and their kid ended up a fucking monster. And sure, there's a lot of monsters out there whose dad was around. A lot of serial killers end up this way because their parents, their dad was a scumbag who beat them. But again, that's an extreme of the other direction. But anyway, I think I've rambled on this enough. This is just yet another example of why trans is a mental illness, and mental illness as a whole, these people need to be checked when it comes to weaponry. And I'm pro Second Amendment. I love the Constitution. I don't like the idea of ripping rights away from people, especially because I know slippery slope. But there comes a point when something needs to happen, something needs to be done, and it's going to be ripping the Band-Aid off. Okay? It's going to hurt, it's going to sting, but it's going to have to be done. Because that scar, that wound needs some air. It needs some fresh air, it needs some sunlight. And sunlight is the best disinfectant. But, again, rambling on. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Thanks for stopping by. Leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, join my Discord because I don't know how long that's going to happen or be around because Discord is apparently changing and I might need to find a new way. Anyway, join in for the streams. I do game streams. I do, again, Midnight Mass, Sundays at 9 p.m. EST. But remember, God bless, and may demons fear when you wake in the morning.